This is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine. They called him Rocco. He'd worked at some of the best restaurants in town till he got caught trying to hijack a tractor trailer full of pate foie gras and ended up behind bars, sharing a cell with my buddy. It seemed all the guy read was cookbooks and gourmet magazines. He loved to talk about all the fine cuisine and the fancy foods he used to whip up. He'd go on for hours and hours talking about this soup and that sauce. Food was his whole life. My guys in prison got pinups on the walls, and so did Rocco. Only his pinup was of a rack of lamb with little panties, of course. Now, our prison chow was this greeny gray stuff that smelled like old socks. Rocco refused to eat it. Said it gave food a bad name, that it offended the palate. One day when they dumped that slop on his tray, he tossed it right back into God's kisser. That little episode started the mother of all food fights. That's when Rocco went into solitary and started his hunger strike. He weighed like 300 pounds when he first went in the hole, but in the next few months, he lost more than half of it. So one night, there was this big thunderstorm with lots of lightning that lit up the sky like a gigantic fireworks. A bolt of lightning hit a transformer in one of those electrical substations. Anyway, there was a big bang, and then all the lights went out. Now, while this was all going on, it just so happened that a guard was bringing Rocco his meal, and the blackout surprised this guard, so Rocco could jump him and lock him in the cell. He snuck out into the prison yard where he almost got caught by the guards, but lucky for Rocco, guards can't see in the dark. So, Rocco made it over the wall and escaped into the woods. That night, Rocco saw a truck driver who pulled over on a back road for a pit stop. When Rocco opened the back door, he saw lots of real fancy-looking, good-tasting food inside. It was a caterer's van, and a fancy caterer, too. Rocco's eyes lit up, and he slobbered drool like it was water from a spigot. But just as Rocco was reaching for a platter of them hors d'oeuvre things, the driver finished his business, got back in the truck, and drove away. Rocco was drenched to the skin and bones. A lot later that night, he saw this deserted building, but inside it was pitch black. So he stumbled around in the dark, knocking stuff over and falling down a lot. But then he thought he'd gone to heaven when he bumped into a fridge. It was chock full of plastic containers of food. He couldn't see, of course, but he also couldn't taste or even smell what was getting a cold and a stuffed-up nose from being out in the rain for so long. All he cared about was that it was a fridge and that there was food inside. He was licking his lips like he was about to sit down to a fancy spread at some 4-star French joint. Of course, maybe his taste buds would have thought doit tasted good. I don't know. He peeked out and stuffed his face. It was like in one night he gained that all the weight he lost. Did he ever feel good? Good and stuffed. Anyways, it was still dark, and since he was real full and real pooped, he fell asleep. When he woke up, it was morning, and Rocco could see. His eyes bugged right out of his head, because on the fridge there was this big notice. Caution, warning, dangerous. This laboratory cooling unit contains materials for medical and scientific experiments. So Rocco pulled the door wide open. The fridge was full of really gross stuff. Parts and pieces of, I tell you what, but I don't want to make you sick. And nearly everything from that fridge was now in Rocco's gut. This is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine. And Rocco, he's back in prison. And these days, he eats anything they put in front of him.